Hello my fellow King Octopus and Chubby Cates, it's me, ya boy, Cypher, the same guy who spent the entire night looking for octopuses in the nearby beach.
The entire night looking for the suckers, but it's already morning.
Here to present to you a game that I myself would consider to be the greatest JRPG this year, Octopath Traveler 2. Now you might be wondering, Cypher, why are you reviewing this game? You haven't even reviewed the first one. Well, my fellow travelers, you don't need to know the first game's story in order to play the second one. So even if this might be your first time diving into the series, you don't really have to worry about playing this game. This game is the third entry in the series. Yes, the second one is a gacha game, and no, I'm not addicted to it. And this game improves so much from the first one. It is a masterpiece that revolutionized the retro pixel JRPG style that many love. Now, Octopath Traveler 2 is a game that follows 8 travelers who embark on a journey of their own, with each traveler having different motivations and convictions that made them band together to journey across the lands of Celestia. These are all very different people from very different backgrounds who also have varying personalities. And honestly, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that you'll have at least one favorite amongst all of them. Octopath Traveler 2 was developed and published by Square Enix and Acquire. We all know who Square Enix is and whatnot, but what about Acquire? Well, some degenerate weebs out there might know Akiba Strip. And yeah, they developed that game. And no, I'm not gonna talk about that, but anyways. No. The game has been released on the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, as well as Steam. Now, there are people who tend to dismiss Octopath simply because, oh, this game is a 2D pixel game? Psh. Oh, this game is a turn-based game? Psh. Oh, this game is a JRPG? Wait, hold on a second. Psh. And if you're one of these people watching this video, you can't run. I will be approaching your location, and nothing in this world will stop my arrival. Your days are numbered, and no one will remember you. Now, I have spent over 80 plus hours in this game, and I loved every single second of it. And that number is most likely going to fluctuate by the time this video is uploaded. So yeah, I'm addicted. The gameplay is outstanding, the stories are really good, the music gave me eargasm, and there is so much more that I want to share, so now let's head on to the story. At the start of the game, you get to pick one of 8 travelers as your main character and play the chapter 1 of his or her story, and will be able to recruit the others once you finish their chapter 1s as well. That main character will not be swappable or removed from your party until you finish their final chapter. I'll dive more into that once we get to the gameplay section. There are 8 travelers, with each person being very different than the rest. I'll start with my favorite. Temenos Mistral is an inquisitor of the Church of the Sacred Flame, but constantly doubts the very gods themselves, much to his peers' dismay. After the pontiff died, he sets his main focus to uncovering the dark truths, hiding within the Church of Light. Oswald V. Van Stein is a scholar on a quest for revenge. After seeing his wife and child die at the hands of his colleague Harvey, he is blamed for the murders and is sentenced to prison for life. He escapes and swears to kill the man who took everything from him. Cortisho Yellowwell is an incredibly talented merchant who can sell not only goods but ideas as well. He has experienced the harshness of poverty and sets out on a journey to bring prosperity to each and every part of the world. Hikari Ku is a prince. Wait, hold on a second. A prince? Alright. He's a prince whose brother has taken over his kingdom and brandished Hikari as a traitor. He now seeks worthy allies across the continent in order to take back the throne and end his kingdom's history of bloodshed. Agnea Bristorni wishes to be a dancer star. Just like her mother, she is currently traveling in order to achieve stardom and bring smiles to people's faces. And no matter what lies on the journey ahead, she will always stand back up. Casti Florence is an amnesiac. To be honest, she probably doesn't remember her last name, Lamau. She's an apothecary who is on a journey to recover her memories by visiting the places she's been to, which is written down on a journal with most of its pages covered in blood. Throne Anguis has always hated the stench of blood, and with her line of work as a thief in an underground organization, killing people is unavoidable. She has now decided that enough is enough and sets out in order to unlock the collar, which is laced with lethal poison and forcibly removed, in order to get the 2 keys needed for her freedom. And finally, Ochet. Ochet is a beastling who loves meat and any meal that has meat. She embarks on a journey to find the 3 great beasts of legend in order to bring them home and fight against the calamity that threatens to destroy her village. And that's everybody. Very interesting characters who have much to bring to the table. The story's overall quality is really good in my honest opinion. There are some weak parts, but that only comes with the amount of main story quests there are, with each one catering to a certain character. Not to mention that their paths do cross and their stories merge into one at the end. There are very sad moments and there are very hype moments, and moments like these are what keep the game fresh to me each time I dive into someone's story. Their perspective immerses me and makes me want to explore their characters more. I know people don't really like the separate story format, but what Octopath portrays is the different lives that these people live. That it isn't just about you, that it's about everyone that you meet and how they affect you. I also really like that some stories aren't just tragedies, like Agnea's and Partitios for example. They're not the greatest, but they're not bad either, and they're a good refresher from the very heavy topics that some of the other characters tell. Some people find them too goofy or too lighthearted for their tastes, and you know what, that's fine. But you gotta understand as well that not everyone's lives has to be shit. The voice acting is insane. I don't know about the end version of things because I don't play my JRPGs with the English dub, but my man, Oswald.
島はかつて鉱山で覆われていたらしい。
He sounds like he eats rocks for breakfast. Like, damn, his VA is really putting in the work. Even the side characters sound like their VAs put their soul into them. The side quests as well. My god, the side quests! These aren't your average, oh, fetch me a plum and 15 dreadwolf fangs, and I'll give you the Eye of Calamity. No, they actually have stories with them. Each side quest has its own conditions to fulfill, and they always play out with a scene afterwards. Whether it be a father who is giving a gift to his son, or an apathetic girl who has already given up on life because of her condition. Each one plays out in a way that captivates you and makes the world seem more alive. That these aren't just NPCs, that they're people with worries, fears, and hopes. And I love that. I genuinely love that part of the game. Man, that girl who had a severe medical condition and was ready to die, that quest needed me to grant her 3 wishes, and by completing that quest, I gave her a reason to live. And that fucking broke me. I had to sit there and think about it for a while after I finished that quest. It touched me, and it's a part of the game that I wish to share to a lot of people. That these blocks of pixels are more than just quest givers and reward handlers, and it made me love the game more. But, you know, enough of that sappy shit, it's time to dive into the gameplay. The gameplay it's really good, man. Like, turn-based wise, it's very fun. To put it simply, it's like winning in a sword fight, and when your opponent asks for mercy, you whip out a shotgun and blast them to bits. Now, to explain as to how it works. We got the usual turn-based mechanics like turns, attacks, and skills. You have a party of 4, always. But you can swap your characters while interacting with a tavern key. Your chosen character at the start is unreplaceable, but will be once you finish their entire storyline. But what makes Octopath unique is the break and boost system, where you break an enemy and then obliterate them until not even atoms remain. Breaking is the process of shaving the shields of an enemy. The enemy will have a number of shields. As to how much shield the enemy has depends on the enemy. Now, in order to break those shields, you would need to hit their weaknesses. Weaknesses that, by the way, are not known when you first encounter an enemy. So you mostly have to guess until you hit the correct weakness. After you completely remove all of the enemy shields, they will be left in a broken state. L plus ratio plus broken plus ancient curse talisman plus opulent restorative. Now in that broken state, enemies will take more damage from any sources. And here's where the boosting side shines. Boosting is a mechanic in which a party unit will use boost points in order to increase their abilities. You see these yellow shiny dots here? Those are your boost points, or BP for short. You can use them in order to increase your skills and even your basic attacks. You can gain BP naturally by not using them on your turn and gaining 1 BP the next turn. But there are other ways to gain BP as well, through items, through other ally skills, or through passives. So boosting your damaging skills will either give more damage potency or multiply your hits. While boosting your support skills will increase the buff or debuff turn count, or like with skills like Donate BP, increases the amount given to a particular unit. So now that we're done with that, let's talk about jobs and path actions. Each character has a specific primary job that comes with its own set of skills. There's also a way to get secondary jobs, which would be jobs that might synergize well with your character. There are a total of 8 regular secondary jobs as well as a secret 4. Now when you kill an enemy, you'll receive JP or job points, and you can use these points to unlock skills. But when you acquire all of the basic skills, you will be able to acquire a divine skill for that job. Divine skills are very unique skills that have their own funky functions, like the Apothecary Divine skill that makes all of the items you use as AoE, or the Scholar Divine skill that makes your magic spells intensify, making them hit thrice instead of the usual 1. So it's really up to you on how you want to make these skills and jobs count. There are also passives when you acquire a job skill, and each of those passives can range from completely useless to very, very useful. Path actions are actions you do when walking up to an NPC. Each character has their own path actions, like Throne being able to steal, Hikari challenging a person and gaining their ability when he wins, or Agnea who can allure someone to help in battle. Now let's try to understand how night and day cycles work. In Octopath 2, there is a night and day cycle, and you can easily switch the time through a click of a singular button. NPC placements, quests, and even music can change depending on the time of day. Now, how is this relevant, you may ask? Well, my fellow dude who works at 7-Eleven gave me a packet of tissues for no reason. I don't know why that was so specific. Path actions for each character can change based on the time of day. Because of that, everyone has path actions during day and night. For example, Oswald can scrutinize someone for information during the day, and he can mug someone during the night. You know, thievery is fine because you don't get caught, but beating someone up to steal their shit, well, you know what, that's fine. Characters can also have X skills, which is also unique to each of them. Through means I won't reveal, Particio can acquire an X skill that pays the enemy and changes their turn into his. And it's funny as fuck, like it doesn't matter who it is, just I'll pay you $100 to fuck off. We slide over to talents. Each character has a unique talent of which can be very useful or sometimes not useful in the long run. Ochette can capture and summon monsters, it's fucking Pokemon. Temenos will debuff the enemies at night, Throne will buff the party at night. Oswald can reveal opponents' weaknesses, Hikari can use skills of people he has defeated in combat, Particio can hire people and get discounts depending on the person you hired. Agnea can have a dance session with people she allured and the buffs depending on the NPC. And finally, Casti. Okay, let's sit down for a moment. Who the fuck made Concoct broken even more? Alphin's Concoct in the first game was already broken as shit. Who? Which dev was high in developing Concoct that day? For context, based on how much boost you're using, you can use medicinal or toxic components for party-wide buffs, debuffs, attacks, and Jesus Christ, look at this. This is the first turn! How? How is this illegal? And because of the BP I have, I could just keep spamming this shit? Why? Let's just move on to the next one. Now, the next one is latent power. It is unique to each character and can offer a variety of unique abilities and skills each of the 8 characters possess. You can fill your latent power by getting hit or breaking an enemy. You can also gain latent power through items and skills. Examples would be like Ochet having access to 3 unique skills, of which are an AoE, a single target, and a defense debuff that can break 1 shield point, all of which are boostable. Or Temenos, where it allows him to break shields regardless of the enemy's weakness. Or Cassie, where the material she uses for concoct that turn will not be consumed, buffing an already broken ass talent. How the fuck? Breathe in, breathe out, inhale, exhale. Okay, so knowing all of this information beforehand, you can make some incredibly crazy combinations like Agnea casting Siltige Seduction on a speedy throwing. So on the next turn, you can cast Surprise Attack and it'll hit every enemy. Or you can cast Elephant's Wisdom on Temenos and make his heals do more than usual. Or maybe you can fit a Step Ahead, Full Power, and Boost Start passives plus Dancer Job on casting. She can use her latent power on the first turn before anyone else can cock and give everyone 4 BP. Why is this allowed, man? Why is this allowed? Oh my god! So yes, the gameplay is really fun, sometimes fucking broken, but overall really fun. Having multitude of options during battle with so many combinations to choose from and feeling like you have had a stroke of genius every time you figure something out is really satisfying. Not to mention that there's also a ×2 speed option if you feel like the gameplay is a little too slow. I do have a few gripes with the gameplay though, that being the items being a very long list instead of getting categorized. It can be a very tedious task to scroll through the vast amount of items that you have during battle, as well as the 4-party problem where you need to switch your party in taverns every time. It gets tedious during path action oriented quests as well, where there's a quest you're doing and you might not have the needed party member for that quest, so you make another trip to the tavern yet once again. But they're not really all that inconvenient. But I do hope that in the next installment, the devs actually start placing thoughts into these instead of, buffing concoct a 3rd time. Jesus Christ. The world this time around is bustling with life, unlike the first game where NPCs are just there. They can walk, talk, and converse with everyone, making it seem more lively than it usually is. This can also be seen during nighttime where people are in the comfort of their own homes, while guards, thieves, and drunkards are seen roaming the streets. The world is pretty much the same as every JRPG game where they have certain danger levels attached to them, and the usual random encounters. What surprises me is the access of a ship, being able to easily dock in between towns and explore dungeons, caves, and structures, normally inaccessible at the beginning of the game. As for how to get the ship, well, it's tied to a specific quest and you're gonna have to figure that one out yourself, Chief. Speaking of quests, side quests here aren't your usual, go to this location and do shit I want. No, you're gonna have to bring a pen and paper for this because the game will only give you subtle hints as to how you can finish a quest. The rest is really up to you, and there can be more than one way to finish a quest with different outcomes depending on how you finished it. And honestly, I prefer that. Nowadays, games tend to have objective markers in a quest tab with all the information needed, but hand-holding kinda sucks, because it genuinely loses that sense of self-discovery and accomplishment when doing a quest. Octopath has none of those babysitting habits, and it's really refreshing. Just accepting a quest, writing it down, and then finding the person or thing you needed to finish a quest is really neat. There was even a quest where I needed to rescue a girl from a kraken just to find out I needed to guide her, just so I could finish the quest. I am glad I had Temenos as my starting unit. Otherwise, I might have had to go through this godforsaken dungeon again. The graphics are stunning. The art direction is astonishing. It gives me that nostalgia of a pop-up picture book or maybe those Lego pieces that you built when you were a kid. It's enthralling and mesmerizing just looking at these locations. It feels like you're watching this own little world unfold before you. A story just for you. So here we are at the end. And I can definitely tell you that overall, this game is simply amazing. It's a game that I can't recommend enough, and I could keep talking to you about this game all day, but this video would become a full-length documentary film by the time I'm finished. There is also the crisp sound design that I haven't even mentioned yet. Like, whoever made these sound designs, give them a raise. And my god, Yasunori Nishiki, the man himself has outdone so many pieces from the first game, and he went beyond. He knows what he's doing, and he is a master of his craft. And the reason why I haven't even talked about the music yet is because I want you to have a listen for yourself. Agnea, hit it! I cannot find the words needed to describe this. This rhythm from the heavens. The music is so good, and for each and everything, there is always music. Hell, even the 8 Travelers have their own theme and battle music. Even the battle at sea has music. This right now, the music I'm playing is the sea battle music. The areas have night and day music as well, and my god, listen to this! You didn't have to go this hard for an area music! And here's the nighttime version. Every time I hear the music, it sets me on edge in a very tense situation, or have me at tears at incredibly depressing themes. And sometimes I just cry, just opening up the main menu with the main theme playing. I can't stress how much I love the music and how much soul is put into it. Combined with the game itself, it just shows how much care and work was given to this game, and it just makes me feel everything! Octopath Traveler 2 is one of those underrated titles, being overshadowed by larger games such as Tears of the Kingdom or Final Fantasy XVI. But it's one of those games that you should give a try, because I myself have doubted the series at the start. But once I got into playing it, it gave me an experience like no other. And when the second game dropped, it blew me away. More than I could have anticipated. It went beyond my expectations and skyrocketed above the atmosphere. It's a game that has flown under the radar, and not many people talk about it these days, and more than that, people don't give it a chance because it's not the hottest thing on the market right now, or it's just a pixel game. But this game will always have a special place in my heart. It's a title that I will always keep on recommending, regardless of what your tastes may be. It's wacky, it's funny, it's depressing, and sometimes uplifting. And I can understand that some people just don't like pixel art or want a story that mainly focuses on only one character. But what made Octopath special to me is how I experienced that world and how it made me feel. A story all your own. And you know what? I fucking dig it.
夜が刻一刻と近づいている。旅人たちよ、旅の終わりに希望は勝てるだろうか。答えを待っています。